All right, so today let's talk about games that are so massive, so addictive, and so endlessly replayable that you could easily pour 1,000 hours into them and still find something new. Whether it's RPGs, MMOs, survival sandboxes, or strategy monsters, these games will eat your free time alive, and you'll thank them for it. Here are 30 awesome games worth spending 1,000 hours in. Let's start with Baldur's Gate 3, the kind of RPG that doesn't just ask for your time, it demands it and you'll happily give it. Every decision feels weighty, every character interaction can spiral into something unexpected, and the sheer freedom in how you approach the game is insane. It's not a game you beat and move on from. It's one you live in for weeks, maybe months, discovering new story branches, builds, and party dynamics each time. With the amount of choice packed into it, you're never really finished. Baldur's Gate 3 isn't just long, it's endlessly replayable and dangerously addictive.
Another fight. Let's go. Pity we had to kill him.
Final Fantasy XIV isn't just a game, it's an entire ecosystem. The sheer amount of content is overwhelming in the best way possible. You've got epic main story quests that feel like a single-player RPG, massive raids that demand teamwork, housing to decorate like you're on HGTV, and of course fishing for hours when you should be saving the world. What keeps players hooked is how consistently Square Enix updates and expands it, making sure there's always something new to chase. It's one of those MMOs where you log in for a quick session, but between the social aspect, the grind, and the endless side activities, you realize you've spent half the day in Eorzea. And honestly, you don't even regret it, because it's that fun and welcoming. Grim Dawn is an ARPG that doesn't just scratch the loot and grind itch, it claws at it. It takes that classic Diablo formula and dials it up with dual-class systems, endless gear combinations, and expansions that add even more insanity to the mix. What makes it so addictive is that feeling of progression. You're always chasing that next upgrade, tweaking your build, and testing out new skills until you've created the perfect monster-slaying machine. It's got just enough complexity to keep you engaged without being overwhelming, and the dark fantasy atmosphere gives everything this gritty, satisfying weight. Add in mods and seasonal content, and suddenly you're hundreds of hours deep wondering where your free time went. Elden Ring is basically From Software saying Dark Souls is great, but what if we gave you an entire open world to suffer in? And it's brilliant. The game is massive, like you could explore for weeks and still stumble into new areas or bosses you never knew existed. The real hook here is the freedom. You're not locked into one style of play. You can be a wizard, a tank, or some insane hybrid build that makes no sense but somehow works. The world rewards curiosity, and every fight feels like a puzzle waiting to be cracked. It's punishing, sure, but in that way that makes you want to dive back in after each failure. If you're into exploration, experimentation, and a healthy dose of pain, Elden Ring will easily eat 1,000 hours of your life. Crusader Kings 3 is where grand strategy meets medieval soap opera. It's not just about conquering land, it's about marrying off your kids for political gain, plotting betrayals, and trying to keep your dynasty alive when your heir is a total disaster. What makes it special is the sheer unpredictability. The AI has a way of throwing curveballs that turn your perfect plan into complete chaos, but in the most entertaining way possible. No two campaigns ever feel the same, because the game is less about winning and more about the stories that unfold. Sometimes tragic, sometimes hilarious, often both at once. It's the kind of game where you start off planning a quick session and suddenly you're explaining to your friends how your entire kingdom collapsed because of a goat-related scandal. Escape from Tarkov is one of those games that feels less like a hobby and more like a lifestyle. It's brutally hardcore, with survival mechanics that punish every mistake and gunplay so realistic it feels like you're cleaning an actual rifle after each raid. The thrill comes from that constant risk-reward. Every raid could mean incredible loot or losing everything to someone hiding in the shadows. It's tense, unforgiving, and often stressful, but that's exactly why people keep coming back. Tarkov scratches that itch for players who love mastering complexity and thriving under pressure. You're not just playing a shooter, you're committing to an ecosystem where knowledge, skill, and paranoia all matter equally. Factorio is basically engineering crack. You start with a couple of machines, and before you know it, you've built a sprawling industrial empire that looks like something out of a sci-fi novel. The real addiction here isn't just building, but optimizing, making everything run smoother, faster, and more efficiently. Every little tweak feels like progress, and the satisfaction of seeing a perfectly automated factory is unmatched. It's one of those games where you lose entire weekends just trying to fix a single conveyor belt issue. With mods and infinite scaling, Factorio doesn't just let you play, it dares you to push your brain to the limit. Destiny 2 is what happens when you combine a looter shooter with MMO elements and polish it with some of the best gunplay in the industry. The gameplay loop is dangerously addictive. Run activities, get loot, level up, repeat, and somehow it never gets old. Raids are a highlight, offering some of the most creative co-op content around, while PvP scratches that competitive itch. Bungie keeps feeding the beast with seasonal content and expansions, so there's always another goal to chase. Destiny 2 isn't just a game, it's a grind disguised as fun. And for many players, it's a second home where the community is as much a draw as the loot.
King, what's your status?
A little low on ammo. Old flaming pit kept burning out.
Diablo 4 takes the classic loot grind formula and cranks it up into something that feels bigger, darker, and way more immersive. It's the kind of game where you tell yourself you'll just clear a dungeon, and suddenly you've been farming gear and tweaking your build for hours. The open world design adds a fresh layer of exploration, while the classes and skill trees give you endless ways to play. What makes it dangerous for your free time is that it always feels like there's one more upgrade, one more boss, one more world event to chase. Diablo 4 doesn't just ask for your time, it swallows it whole, and you'll thank it for doing so.
I'm out of essence.
Fortnite may have started as just another battle royale, but it's evolved into something much bigger. It's not just about being the last one standing, it's about the constant stream of updates, collaborations, and creative modes that turn it into a playground for gamers. You could be sweating out ranked matches one day, then chilling in a concert event the next. The mix of accessibility and depth makes it appealing to casuals and hardcore players alike. And let's be real, Fortnite is basically a pop culture museum at this point, with more crossovers than you can count. Whether you're in it for competition or just goofing around, it's endlessly replayable. Forza Horizon 5 isn't just a racing game, it's a celebration of cars, speed, and open-world chaos. The map of Mexico is absolutely massive, filled with everything from deserts to rainforests, and it practically begs you to get lost exploring. The car roster is ridiculous, the customization is deep, and the events keep flowing non-stop. What makes it stick is the variety. You can be drifting through city streets one moment and blasting off-road in a monster truck the next. With seasonal updates, online events, and endless challenges. It's the type of game where you'll tell yourself just one more race and suddenly realize you've been behind the wheel for hours.
We've already had cars falling out of the sky, but all eyes are on the superstar making their way to the festival right now.
Grand Theft Auto 5 is the definition of a game that never dies. Sure, the single-player story is fantastic, but the real-time sync is GTA Online. It's basically a chaotic sandbox where you can run heists, build an empire, or just spend hours trolling other players with jetpacks. Rockstar keeps piling on updates, and the player-driven antics make every session unpredictable. It's one of those games that's less about finishing and more about living in its world. And with mods, role-play servers, and endless ways to create mayhem, GTA 5 can easily soak up 1,000 hours without breaking a sweat.
Hello, I want to report a disturbance.
It's insured. Don't be a dick.
Christ. Please, no! Oh my god!
No way!
Kenshi is one of those games that looks unassuming at first glance but completely takes over your life once it clicks. It's a true sandbox RPG. There's no set path, no hand-holding, just a massive world where you can do literally anything. Want to be a trader? Sure. A mercenary? Absolutely. A one-legged wanderer surviving against all odds? Go for it. The freedom is unmatched, and the stories that naturally emerge from its systems are incredible. It's brutal, it's strange, and it's not exactly pretty, but that's part of its charm. Kenshi is the kind of game where you log in for a quick session, then suddenly realize you've built an entire faction and spent 100 hours doing it. The Dark Souls series has a reputation for difficulty, but that's only part of what makes it so endlessly replayable. The real hook is the depth, build variety, interconnected worlds, hidden mechanics, and the satisfaction of overcoming challenges that once seemed impossible. You can replay it a dozen times and still discover new weapons, areas, or strategies. It's also the kind of series where you end up making challenge runs just to see how far you can push yourself. Dark Souls isn't just about beating the bosses, it's about mastering the systems and diving deeper into a world that always has more to show you. Kingdom Come! Deliverance takes RPG realism to a whole new level. It's not about dragons and magic, it's about trying to survive in medieval Europe with authentic systems for combat, crafting, and even reading. At first it feels overwhelming, but once you get the hang of it, it's incredibly immersive. The freedom to approach quests your own way, the dynamic world that reacts to your actions, and the sheer amount of detail in everything from combat to alchemy makes it a game you can sink into for hours on end. It's challenging, sometimes frustrating, but that's what makes mastering it so rewarding. League of Legends is the classic example of a game that people both love and hate, often in the same match. It's the kind of competitive MOBA where you think you'll just play one quick round, but 3 hours later you're still chasing that win. The depth is insane, with over 100 champions, countless strategies, and a meta that never stops shifting. It's endlessly replayable because no two games feel the same. You're always adapting, learning, and, let's be honest, sometimes rage quitting. But that's the hook. Once you get invested, League has a way of keeping you in its grip for years, whether you're climbing ranked or just enjoying the chaos with friends. Minecraft is one of the few games that can honestly claim to be infinite. It's not just about mining and building, it's about creating entire worlds limited only by your imagination. Some people spend hundreds of hours constructing elaborate castles, while others dive into exploration, speedrunning, or mods that completely reinvent the game. The beauty is in its versatility. One day you're farming sheep, the next you're automating factories with redstone. It appeals to casual players, hardcore survival fans, and creative builders all at once. And because it keeps evolving with new updates, Minecraft is the kind of game you never really finish. You just keep finding new ways to play. Monster Hunter World is exactly what the name suggests, a giant playground for battling huge monsters with even bigger weapons. The hunts are challenging, but that's what makes finally taking down a beast so satisfying. You're constantly grinding for materials, crafting new gear, and testing out different weapon types, which means the game always gives you something to chase. Add in co-op multiplayer and expansions like Iceborne, and suddenly you've sunk hundreds of hours without even realizing it. It's addictive in the best way possible. Equal parts preparation, execution, and celebration when things finally go your way. No Man's Sky went from being a cautionary tale to one of the greatest redemption stories in gaming. Today, it's basically a universe in your pocket, offering exploration, crafting, base building, survival, and even multiplayer adventures. The scale is ridiculous. You could spend months just hopping from planet to planet, cataloging weird creatures, or building bases in the most scenic locations. The developers keep dropping updates that expand the game even more, so it never feels stale. If you love exploration and endless possibilities, No Man's Sky is one of those games you can keep returning to forever, always finding something new. Overwatch is that game where you log in for just a quick match and suddenly your entire evening is gone. It's the hero shooter that made team-based gameplay exciting again, with a roster of diverse characters that all feel completely unique. The matches are short but intense, and the constant balance changes mean you're always adapting. It's got enough depth to keep competitive players hooked, but also enough accessibility that casual gamers can have fun too. The combination of strategy, teamwork, and those high-energy plays makes Overwatch endlessly replayable. Plus, nothing beats the feeling of pulling off the perfect ultimate.
Your end is within my reach.
Path of Exile is basically the galaxy brain version of an action RPG. It looks simple on the surface, kill monsters, get loot, but then you see the skill tree, and suddenly you're staring at what looks like a blueprint for a spaceship. The depth is wild, and every season the devs drop fresh content that changes how you play. The sheer build variety and constant updates keep players hooked for thousands of hours. It's free to play, but honestly, the value it delivers is ridiculous. Path of Exile isn't just about grinding loot, it's about endlessly experimenting and never running out of ways to play. Red Dead Redemption 2 isn't just a game, it's an experience that eats up your life in the best way possible. The world is so alive and detailed that just existing in it feels rewarding. Every system, from exploration to progression, is crafted to pull you deeper in, and before you know it, you've spent hours just living out your own Western saga. It's not only about the story, though that's top tier, it's about how much freedom you have to carve your own path. Red Dead 2 is less of a play-it-once game and more of a lose-yourself-in-it-forever kind of deal. RimWorld is one of the greatest just one more hour traps ever made. On paper, it's a colony sim, but in practice, it's a never-ending drama generator where every playthrough spirals into chaos in a different way. The emergent storytelling keeps it endlessly fresh, and the systems are so deep that no two colonies ever turn out the same. Add in the modding community, and you've basically got infinite replayability. RimWorld is a game where you start off trying to manage resources and end up spending hundreds of hours micromanaging every little detail while laughing at the chaos you created. Stardew Valley might seem like a relaxing farming game, but it's secretly one of the most addictive time sinks out there. The beauty is in how much freedom you get, farm how you want, build relationships, explore the mines, or just take it slow. Every in-game day feels rewarding, which is why it's so hard to stop. The replay value is off the charts, since each playthrough can feel different depending on your choices. It's cozy, it's charming, and it's endlessly satisfying. Stardew Valley isn't just about farming, it's about creating a little world you'll never want to leave. Terraria is the ultimate sandbox adventure game that just keeps on giving. It mixes exploration, crafting, building, and combat in a way that feels endlessly fresh. The progression is layered so that every session leads you deeper into its world, and the sheer amount of content ensures you'll always have something new to do. It's one of those games where you jump in for a quick run and then realize hours have gone by. With the freedom to create, explore, and battle through massive worlds, Terraria becomes a game you can revisit endlessly without it ever feeling stale. The Witcher 3 is one of those games that redefines what an open-world RPG can be. It's massive, but what's impressive is that nearly every quest feels meaningful and worth doing. The combat keeps you on your toes, the progression system is rewarding, and the world itself is dripping with atmosphere. Whether you're customizing your build, hunting monsters, or just wandering into random villages, it always feels like there's something new waiting for you. Add in the expansions and mods, and suddenly you've got a game you can sink hundreds of hours into without ever feeling like you're wasting your time.
Show me what you got.
Total War Warhammer is where strategy gaming goes completely off the rails in the best possible way. You've got deep empire management mixed with gigantic real-time battles featuring dragons, demons, and entire armies clashing on screen. Each faction feels unique, and the sheer replayability is ridiculous because every campaign plays out differently. If you're into grand strategy but also love seeing epic battles unfold, this is the sweet spot. It's the kind of game where you tell yourself just one more turn, and before you know it, the sun's coming up and you're negotiating peace treaties with vampires. Dota 2 is both one of the most rewarding and most brutal games you'll ever play. The learning curve is massive, but once you dive in, you realize why it's one of the biggest esports in the world. Every match is a test of skill, strategy, and teamwork, with endless combinations of heroes and tactics. It's the kind of game that can take thousands of hours to truly master, and yet it still feels fresh because no two matches are the same. If you're the competitive type and love refining your skills, Dota 2 is basically a lifestyle, not just a game.
Axe is under attack! Axe charges.
Fallout 4 is one of those games that perfectly balances RPG depth with sandbox creativity. The open world is packed with places to explore, factions to deal with, and loot to collect, but it's also a playground for building and customization. The settlement system gives you a whole new way to invest your time, and the modding community has practically turned it into an endless experience. Whether you want to roleplay, shoot mutants, or just create your dream post-apocalyptic base, Fallout 4 keeps you hooked for the long haul. It's comfort food for anyone who loves open-world RPGs. Skyrim is the ultimate forever game. You don't just play Skyrim, you live in it. The sheer freedom is unmatched. Do quests, ignore quests, become an assassin, a mage, a werewolf, or just wander into caves for loot. And then there are the mods, which have basically given Skyrim an eternal lifespan. People are still discovering new ways to play it over a decade later, and it's one of those games where you'll always find yourself coming back. Skyrim isn't just a game worth 1,000 hours, it's a game worth 10,000, because it never truly ends.
Enough of you!
And there you have it, 30 incredible games that are basically black holes for your free time. Let me know in the comments which one of these has stolen the most hours of your life. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss more gaming content. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.